From the Black Swan Media Studios, deep inside a secret underground bunker, we're speaking to freedom-loving patriots from all around the country and the world. Welcome to the Resistance. This is John Crump, live.
And we are back. This is the second to last show before our big Christmas break. We will be off all next week because, hey, it's Christmas and it's my show, so I can do whatever the hell I want. So deal with it. My name is John Crump. You know who I am, maybe not. I don't know. I'm just waking up, to tell you the truth. I was sleeping, so whatever. Okay, we are brought to you by Tusk Cryptocurrency with the firearms market in mind.
Proudly sponsored by TUSC, the only cryptocurrency designed with the firearms market in mind, with 3-second processing times. It's the fastest cryptocurrency on the planet. With lower transaction fees than traditional credit cards. It's perfect for your e-commerce needs. For gun guys, by gun guys. Visit TUSC.network for more information and join the digital revolution.
And we are also sponsored by Black Swan Tactical. Black Swan Tactical is my t-shirt shop, and we got a lot of really cool designs coming out. So check us out at blackswantactical.com.
Black Swan Tactical, your number one source for 2A streetwear. With shirts, mugs, hats, patches, flags, and more. There's always something to help you rep the 2A community. All proceeds go back into our projects. Viewers and listeners can take an additional 10% off with code CRUMPY. Unapologetically pro-gun, pro-liberty, and pro-freedom gear for the front lines of the culture war.
And our title sponsor today is JFD Supply. JFD Supply has everything you need to build a working gun, I guess, where you can get a P80 kit, you have parts, slides, whatever you need, they have there. And if you want to support us in other ways, you can go to patreon.com/John Crump. Let me bring on my co-host. He is the guy that crashes a lot. Flying Rich.
Somebody's got to do it. Got to get you the right audio.
Yeah, you get it out. Okay, and our guest for the day is Mr. Snow, often
Good evening, all.
Jon Snow from Game of Thrones. Okay, first let me tell you guys that it's great to have you guys here. I am freaking exhausted. I just woke up literally like 3 minutes ago. But I'm here with you guys, and I'm excited. That's why I'm kind of out of it still, because I'm not fully awake yet. But I did have a conversation a couple hours ago with Rich's daughter.
Oh.
And I found out a few things. One.
Uh-oh.
She thinks Rich sucks at editing because he uses free software only.
Mm-hmm.
2, Rich makes her film everything.
No. Everything is like 2 things.
3, Rich uses her equipment.
Twice, maybe once.
And the most interesting thing I found out is that Rich tries to promote the show with all their friends, which really embarrasses her.
I so don't. Because what would her friends want to...
Well, that was her point, that her friends are not interested at all, but you keep on promoting to her friends.
No, a bunch of teenage girls do not want to know anything about tech, guns, or cars.
But then why do you always try to promote your show to them?
I don't.
Because they may have boyfriends.
I can just imagine Rich. Hey, you guys want to see a bullpup Glock? And we'll probably shut down. All right.
It's important that your daughters know that you have the ability. You know, all of her friends and all of her friends that maybe of the male persuasion need to know your capability. I think this is a very valid strategy.
Well,
that is true. He can be like, I can build a gun that no one will know exists.
Let me introduce you to the ghost gun. Do you understand what that means?
So Skylar brought this one guy home, and we agreed. And it's funny. Friends of the family said, "Don't you understand? She brought this guy home to punish you. You know, this was absolutely not." My wife and I, we had a little quick chat. We're like, we're not going to say anything bad about this guy, because if we do, she's going to like really cling to this guy. So we're just like, hey, how's it going, man? Blah, blah, blah. So after a couple of months of that, and she was like, you mean you're okay with him? I'm like, oh, yeah, sure. Maybe you'll go shoot with us. So I came home from shooting one day, showed him my phone and a picture of, you know, the Smurf target with like a fist-sized hole shot through the center of it. And I said, I was thinking of you. He never came back again. I don't know why.
Yeah. Have you ever seen Bad Boys?
Which one?
The one where Martin Lawrence's daughter's boyfriend comes over. She's gone on a date, and him and Will Smith are there. I don't know that I've ever seen an entire Bad Boys movie. He will be again, chitty chitty bang bang. The gun at the boy. Then he's like, all right, have fun. All right, so I'll just put this up here.
Ooh, man.
So we're talking about all this crap. We have an
wait, what's that thing on the bottom? All right, I should point that way.
The 1022?
Yeah.
Just a 1022 in a wood stock. So it's an original Ruger stock.
Okay.
That was like one of the first ones I did.
So
this picture,
let's tell everyone who you are first. This is Mr. Snow, 3D gun printer extraordinaire, who prints everything in white. If you haven't noticed, maybe that's why he's Snow. Almost everything in white.
And there's some polymer 80s in there, but yeah, everything comes out in white. And there are rationales beyond branding to that. White is a wonderful color to develop a firearm in, because I can see where the failures are going to be. If you print everything in black, it's actually, you can hide some cracks. You're going to hide some rub marks that it's way easier to locate where your failures are going to be when they're bright white. There's also some 3D printing lore that's true in the fact that white filaments have the most additives there are. So white is actually one of the most difficult colors to print in, because it is full of titanium dioxide. That's actually what brings the white pigment in there. And white is a little bit more difficult to print with. So if we can do it in white, we're going to be able to be pretty good anywhere else.
So I was just looking at the Woodstock 1022 on the bottom and doing the Sesame Street thing in my brain. One of these things is not like the others.
Well, then you got those polymer 80s up there.
Yeah. So, all right, the next one up from the 1022, what is that bolt action?
That's a Savage Mark II FVSR. So it's still a 22, but that is a custom chassis, really. So that is a serialized firearm, but yet the chassis is all 3D printed.
Is that two pieces? What am I seeing?
Yeah, so there's two pieces there, because this whole thing is about 350 millimeters long. So, you know, you have to be able to cut it up to be able to fit it on an Ender 3. So that's one of the things that I try to do when possible, even though I'm in the process of building some massive 3D printers. One of the goals is to do stuff that is as accessible as possible. So one of the things we do is we try to design around the Ender 3, the kind of like baseline machine that you can pick up for $100 when it's on sale, and make this whole enterprise as accessible as possible. Same reason why I generally try to stick with PLA Plus, one of the easiest cheapest filaments you can get. I'm not getting into the carbon fiber nylons or Talman 910s because to me, this is about accessibility for everybody. If I want a gun that's going to last forever, I'm going to make it out of metal.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to give a big shout out to JFD Supply. JFD Supply is the reason why I'm going to SHOT. And this weekend, if you're in Oaks, Pennsylvania, which is near Philadelphia, come by the Oaks Gun Show. JFD has a bunch of people going up to that gun show, including me, Flying Rich, Dark, Tony Simon, Shooting Gallery New England. Maj Torre is going to be there as well.
Maj, really? Oh, cool. So Putang Clan.
Putang. Even Rob Pincus is going to be there.
Rob Pincus, P80 Ralph.
P80 Ralph, yeah. So
a whole bunch of people.
A bunch of really cool people that's going to be there. It's going to be big. It's going to be a small little get-together of the home builders.
So, John, I'm probably going to rip through your town about like 6 a.m., 7 a.m. Friday morning.
So I'm also in Florida, as Rich is pointing that out for everybody. Couple hours north of him, and yeah, we'll be heading out there. I think Florida is. I'm not going to make this one. I've been on the road quite a bit last week hunting, and I do have a day job outside of content and guns. So gotta run the storefront, as it were.
Yeah,
Ralph is out there.
3D prints will be there. Oh, by the way, I saw. Didn't you take out a deer or something with a 3D printed gun?
I did. So that was my last week's big adventure, was being able to go deer hunting, my father and I. And as far as we can tell in all the circles that I travel in, I might actually be the first person to harvest a deer with a 3D printed firearm.
Okay. Now, when you went hunting with your father and he was pulling out his rifle, did you pull out your rifle and said, I printed this?
Oh, I mean, my father knows what I do. He's right here with me doing a lot of this stuff. So we have a good time. So that was that's a Hoffman Tactical in 7.62 by 39. And a small little Georgia doe that happened to come across the sites that evening. And it's a wonderful experience to be able to have that. It kind of hits on a lot of metrics. There's a lot of points there that, people that say AR-15s aren't for hunting. Well, I can beg to differ. And people that say that, ghost guns have no practical purpose. Well, we've got practical purpose. We've got meat on the table from a 3D printed AR-15 ghost gun.
Nice.
So, but I haven't printed any Hoffman Tactical stuff. I think that is just super cool. I'd love to do a 9 and, like an AR-15 on that.
Yeah, there's lots of options for that. And I know that Hoffman Tactical is in the process right now of developing a standalone 9mm lower. So right now you could do like a standard 5.56 lower and put in like an Indo mag or buy one of PSA's conversion kits. But Hoffman is working also on a dedicated.
So the front pins, you just print like horizontal, a block that bolts on the front for the front takedown pins?
Yeah, so Hoffman designed it in a way that it's where those are the high stress and failure points. So if it's gonna break, that's where it's gonna break. It's generally around those pins or the buffer tower. That's where the AR-15 is gonna break. So by building that modularity to it, it means you can replace a lot of that stuff if possible.
Okay.
He also Hoffman actually sells some of those parts that then he does them out of, I think he does them out of, I can't remember if, a bit of more exotic material, like a carbon fiber, but not a carbon fiber, some type of nylon material.
Oh, okay. Because I thought I saw that stuff for sale, and I didn't. I'm like, then it looked like I saw it was printed. I'm like, I was a little confused on that. I tried to get him. I messaged him. I was like, oh, I want to get him on the show. He hasn't replied.
Well, he's a pretty busy guy. I know he's got probably 4 or 5 3D printers going. There's a better shot of our.
Oh, that's nice.
This was a different purpose.
Is that a flare launcher on the bottom?
It absolutely is. We can talk about that as well. So this is our Hoffman Tactical. He uses this. This is an older design. I think this was his version 2, where he was using a hose clamp for buffer tower support. Many people in the 3D printing AR community have also used like U-bolts to support that buffer tower. And there you can see that secondary piece that Rich was talking about. This becomes kind of replaceable, that if this front pin were to break, you can simply replace that one piece.
Well, also the way it prints, it's probably in a better structural way. Because if you're printing that upper upright, that's the layer lines are in a bad way for that front pin.
Yeah, so it's printed. You can see this large flat surface here. So this printed magwell down, and it's a great. Hoffman did a great job in his design. Yeah, up front there, we've got the Are We Cool Yet thump and grind in 37 millimeter, which the cat is out of the bag at this point, but that barrel is actually a specific chain link fence pole. So that's what the barrels are made of for those.
You know what? I bet you can get a chain link fence pole in 40 millimeter too, if I'm not mistaken. Or at least that's what I think. I have no idea why that popped into my head, but
I'm sure that you could with the and you could even do so legally with the proper forms. But yeah, so 37 millimeter is completely A-OK as a civilian with no forms. That is a signal launcher. And yes, we have 3D printed shells and ammunition and different loads and developments that have all been done for that. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So Alan wants to know what filament's the best to print guns with. You do everything designed for PLA Plus because it's easiest to print with. But there's some others.
Yeah, it's one of the most expensive. Inexpensive. Probably the king of 3D printed guns right now is still probably carbon fiber nylon, but it's tricky. You got to upgrade your printer awful lot. You got to do heated chambers. You're going to have lots of issues unless you really know what you're doing. And once again, if you're going to spend that kind of money to set up an entire printer just for that, there's other options.
Yeah. How about PETG?
I'm not a big fan of PETG for firearms because PETG has a tendency to be a little bit too stretchy. So
it's
your
brittle.
pins. PETG is actually not brittle. It's very stretchy. PLA is actually brittle.
Really? Because I've had more things shatter with PETG than PLA.
Shouldn't really depends on your PETG, I guess. So different manufacturers are going to have different results. That's one of the things about 3D printing is a lot of this stuff is not standardized, particularly when it comes to filament. There's not a lot of standardization out there.
No, I don't see standardization becoming a thing anytime soon.
No, it's the Wild West of what's out there.
Yeah, Chuck Norris Gun Club wants to know, how about Kevlar fiber? Can you print in Kevlar fiber?
Yeah, so and there's lots of different fibers out there. I will say, though, that 3D printing is not the same material science as injection molding. You got to watch out for that fallacy that think, if I just throw... Strength has many, many different meanings. Are we talking about tensile strength? Are we talking about compression strength? Are we talking about shock force strength? There's lots of different things to consider when we say how strong is it. And that's where PLA Plus really exceeds for 3D printed firearms. PLA is one of the strongest materials out there in terms of tensile durability, but it needs that plus to have that shock impact resistance. So that plus in PLA typically stands for that shock resistance.
I gotcha.
And the problem with the fibers and things like that is when you're extruding it, it's not a homogeneous mix throughout the entire part. Like it is if you injection mold it, you've got all that glass fiber fill and it's really nice and mixed and thorough. When you're extruding it out of a 3D printer, you're going to have pockets and you don't really know what you're getting with all those additives like carbon fiber and Kevlar.
Yeah, that's true. And a lot of them aren't exactly the best either.
You get what you pay for it, $20 a roll, or, that's the way it goes. And that's the truth. I won't name any names or dog any brands at the moment, unless you want me to.
I don't care.
There's
okay. Do?
so GST filament out of Miami, Florida sells for like $9 a roll. And you can buy like 10 rolls of it for $100, and probably you'll get I would say 1 out of 3 prints is going to fail because it's just garbage filament. It's just not high quality.
So if you're printing
cheap.
dust collectors, that's figurines, who cares?
Yeah, who cares? But if you're printing like 40, 50-hour prints, I don't want a failure.
There is nothing worse than your 20 hours, 50 hours into a print and a failure. That's like you want to throw things around the room.
It's brutal.
Yeah. Yeah, whenever that happens, it pisses me off a lot.
So, John, do you use Octoprint?
I do. I have an occasion, but I think it's cool for monitoring. I've used it from when I'm at my work. I'll monitor the printers through Octoprint, but I don't use it for slicing. I don't
use it for slicing. What slicer do you use?
So I use Prusa slicer.
Okay.
I just really like
Prusa, like a better version of Cura, or
technically,
or did I get that wrong?
Technically, it's a better version of Slick 3R. I think.
Okay, that's it. Right.
Yeah.
I think. Go ahead.
I think most of the slicers today are pretty on par. I mean, I have been through Simplify 3D. I have been through Cura. I have been through Prusa Slicer. I paid my $150 for Simplify 3D, but that was in the early stages. I started printing probably about 6 years ago, and back then there was a big difference. Today, not so much.
I print all my firearms in TPU.
For those that don't know, that's rubber.
But actually totally works, surprisingly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've never thought of actually printing something in TPU. That's
totally works, because TPU is only flexible when it's thin. If like a rubber, if it's thick enough, it's dense enough, it's going to be actually pretty rigid.
You know what? I want to try to print the firearm in my water soluble. So I got like a dual head, and so when I print my supports, I do it in like water soluble filament. So maybe I should try printing the whole firearm in water soluble.
I don't know that it would hold up, but it would be really interesting for some content to print the original Liberator in water soluble, take one shot and dump it in the bucket and see what happens.
Yeah.
The ultimate.
I lost him in a boating accident.
The ultimate boating accident throwaway.
Yeah,
that's a cool one.
So Scott says you can get it really hard, and that's what she said.
Yeah, I actually made a while back for some of my vice jaws. I made them out of TPU. So that was a really great option for creating my own softer vice jaws for clamping in firearm barrels and not
so you don't gouge them up.
Finish.
Yeah, I've only used TPU to print out toys for my kids. Never thought about using it for a firearm.
Well, I mean, it's perfect for butt pads. TPU has really great applications. You bet.
Chuck Norris wants to know if it's possible to print a 3D sex doll, which I'm sure it is. You're going to have a really big printer, or you're going to have a really... never mind.
I'm sure if you go on Thingiverse and Colts, you can find your answer to that one.
Yeah, they
search for
some of those places prune them quick.
3D
I don't know if you saw this.
Fleshlight.
I printed bearings for my pool vac robot. So these are the bearings, the factory bearings, but it comes in a kit and it's like $45. So I found a bearing online, downloaded it, modified, the outer diameter, inner diameter, boom, printed it out. It's been working for like 2 weeks now. Pretty excited.
What'd you print them out of? I
PLA?
watched the video. PLA.
Yeah.
I was going to recommend that Pet G would actually probably be really good for those.
Mm-hmm,
So most of your water bottles, like your, any of those clear, your Evian, all that stuff, all those clear water bottles, those are all pet plastic. So Pet G is actually quite good for water.
Now I don't know anything about PLA in water.
You're going to have a bad time eventually.
Okay. All right. So I'll print some spares in Pet G.
Yeah, but that's the beauty of 3D printing is it's super cheap and it's not that big of a deal. The PLA will absorb that water. And if you've ever had a older roll of filament, particularly PLA, you will know that it's outside of its real use when it starts.
When it snaps. Yeah.
So if you can pick it up, it's like older PLA, and instead of it bending real good, what it'll do, of course, this one's actually pretty good. It'll actually snap, and that's when you know that you got to dry it.
So filament is hygroscopic, meaning it absorbs water. And if there's water in it, as it goes through your print head, you'll actually hear it pop because it forms steam and then, squirts out.
Yeah. And I mean,
that's
it
also
depends.
what she said.
It depends on where you're at. And, if you're out in Nevada, you probably don't really need it. But here where I'm at, I'm like 40% humidity, even with the air conditioner running constantly.
Mm-hmm,
so I will start seeing a degradation in my personal prints in somewhere around 2 to 3 weeks.
So do you use like a dry box or anything like that, for your spool on the printer, or?
So I actually use active heating. Not only is it a dry box with like desiccant in it, there's actually a thermal fan it heats it up to about 55 degrees Celsius. So all my spools are preheated and come through a little bit more consistently than most.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I got to set that up. I need to, so I have a partner desk, and for those people that don't know what a partner desk is, it's like dining room table size, and on the other side of my desk is my printers, and I don't want them in my office, and that's why I have Octoprint. And also I have Spaghetti Detective running. So it's an AI that watches the print. So when you print spaghetti, it'll notify you or shut down the printer. You can determine the actions. I really want to have my printers like in my garage or something like that. But to do that, I would have to have the filament in like desiccant box so it doesn't, suck up humidity, because we're only 100% humidity half the year here in Florida. And this way I don't hear it, I don't smell it. I don't know if you smell PLA, and is Ralph out there? Because that's when he's going to make fun of me printing hot, that I'm frying rich. But even printing at like 210, 220, I hate the smell of PLA.
Really? It smells like pancakes.
It smells sweet like syrup.
I don't want it in my off. I don't know. I'm sensitive. I know, like doing fiberglass work, other people won't even smell the resin. Me, I'll have an involuntary reaction and pull away from it. So some things, some chemical smells. Yep, there he is, frying rich.
Yeah, dude, you print at ridiculous temperatures.
Hey, 350C for PLA is not teasing.
So why did you get on this idea of printing hot? Did you buy into this idea that it was stronger because it was melting more?
Well, that the layers were bonding better.
Can I break your heart for a second?
Sure, do it.
I've been trying.
I'm off that kick.
I've been trying, Mr. Snow.
So Hoffman Tactical actually did a complete rundown of that at different temperatures with his setup, and found that like 210 for PLA was actually the sweet spot. That the hotter
Guess
you got,
what temperature I've been printing at?
Yeah.
Guess what temperature?
Perfect. You learned your lesson.
What temperature were you printing at?
240.
Crispy. This is probably one of my most so I didn't create this. This was done by
you created part of that?
Digital Nimbus. I did create part of this. Digital Nimbus, and this is the Chairman Juan edition.
Yeah, this was the one I really like.
Yeah, I'm really, really feeling this one. So I posted this picture on Twitter last night, and currently it's got like 50,000 views. So this was rather popular. People like this one.
Wow.
This is awesome.
So, and of course, for those that don't know, that is a spring-loaded brace. You can see those bars actually come all the way up into the frame, and it gets into a wonderful little tight situation there. So look forward to get that out to the range, get some footage up on YouTube, have some fun with that one coming up real soon.
That is super cool. And I love the front mag carrier, whatever you want. Or well, we didn't even talk about the special sauce.
Yeah. So there's a story about the this wonderful little box up front. It kind of happened all on accident. Chairman Juan and I were on a stream together probably 2 weeks ago, and we were starting to talk about creating some black powder ignition sources. So I bought a bunch of DC booster voltage step-ups, and I'm playing around with this idea of I'm going to be building a black powder 12-gauge slug gun with electronic ignition. That's going to happen. So that'll be fun. And we're going to actually create the lead projectiles. I'm going to do molds, 3D printed molds that can then be cast in silicone. So we'll rifle the actual projectiles. So it'll be smooth bore. Oh, man, we're going to have all kinds of fun stuff. But when I had these DC step-up voltage and I was creating these arcs of electricity, I said, you know, I could make a cattle prod out of this, which I did in like 15 minutes. Like I took a dowel rod, made a cattle prod just for fun. And as the logic progression of inspiration goes, I should put this on a gun. So that is a stun gun rail attached rifle. And it hits. I would absolutely actively avoid getting hit by that.
Wait a second. Has there been human trials on this?
Yes, there has. I was if I'm going to put, so my goal is to actually release that by like Christmas. That's what I'm working towards. And if I'm going to put something out there, I gotta test it. So yeah, I bellied up, manned up, and took a nice hit. And
you stung yourself?
I certainly did.
You're like, hey, honey, So it's I was just picturing like I'm getting cut on for my daughter being my camera person. I could just see John like, hon, can you come in here?
Honey, do you know the number for 911? I need you to repeat that back to me real fast. Make sure we're on the same page. We know what's coming here.
If dial 911 and I'll let you know for the next number.
Try to hit me again. And if I come back, just let it be. But if, maybe be ready. So yeah, I took a nice hit on my forearm, my left non-dominant hand. And I would put it akin to, slamming your hand in a car door.
Oof.
Ooh, that has to hurt.
It wasn't great. I will actively avoid it in the future, but I do have to do it at least a couple more times on camera for some reason.
So Alan Powell says, did she yell taser, taser, taser?
Somebody certainly should have. I will on camera next time I test it. I promise.
Are you going to do it with a coin cell battery instead?
No, I think what he's talking about is that cop the yelled taser, 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 and had her
then shot him with a bullet.
Yep.
And Chuck Norris Gun Club wants to know if it's a defibrillator or it's a medieval device that's not equal to.
No. So what it is from a marketing perspective, let's be clear on this. This is a high voltage ozone generating air purifier.
Well, there you go.
That's mobile. You can you no longer have to be afraid of aerosol viruses when you're carrying around your own ozone generator at the shooting range.
I thought it was a kindling starter.
Cigar lighter. Yeah, yes. It would totally function as that. It's really it's the best multi-purpose tool to go on a Glock since, an O-Light.
Well, although lighting your cigar like that probably.
Okay. Why? What the hell's up with the O-Lights on all your builds?
I only own one O-Light. That's a bit of a joke between Ralph and I. I bought it.
Know.
Yeah. Poor Ralph.
He's out there, so that's why
it's just as good, man. It's just as good. No, I think Olight gets a bit of a bad rap, which I mean is deserved to some extent. I think Olights are absolutely fine for airsoft and range days. Olights are fine. I'm just not going to trust my life to it.
Prince Shoot Repeat said he dropped his Olight in the snow, came back months later, it was still there and worked.
I believe
because no one picked it up. Hey, it's all like
Olight. Oh, it's an Olight.
So that's why it was still there.
Where is this? I got this name like they asked me to review it. It's like, yeah, no.
It is that Olight. The one Olight I have is crazy bright, and I have actually enjoyed it. It's so far it's been a good light. It's just a question of, is it something I'm going to put is that the light that's going to go in my truck emergency gun? No, it's not. That's going to be the stream light. It's going to be a Surefire. Yeah.
So the one that goes on my truck gun, actually I do own a truck, don't I?
Your wife has a truck.
Yeah. Is a flashlight that I got at a grocery store, and I got some duct tape taped to the front. I'm like, all good.
We are not the same, and that's okay. You do what you got to do. A grocery store duct tape light is better than no light at all.
Yeah, but living in the ghetto, I don't have that many choices.
And John does live in the bad part of town.
I do.
Yes.
Bad part of my neighborhood, at least not.
Yeah.
But I started off 3D printing on a whim, like bought like $100 machine just on Amazon, had no experience with it like 6 years ago, and said, let me just play with this. And it all just kind of blew up. I was, printing toys and stuff for my kids, really figuring it out, learning, made a lot of models, and got pretty good at painting, all that kind of stuff. And it really was leading me down a path of what I look to do with 3D printing is make stuff that's never really existed before. So here's some examples of some firearms that I've been designing and working with. That is a Chairman 1 frame up there, but then that's kind of a aesthetic mod from Star Wars to create with the DC-17 clone trooper pistol from Star Wars.
I was about to ask if that's what that was.
It absolutely is. And then right below that, of course, is the Judge Dredd Lawgiver.
Yeah. I am the law.
That's right. So, it's a lot of fun to make stuff that, I can't buy this. Nobody's going to make it. So this is the kind of stuff that I'm really leaning towards.
It.
Yeah.
I would buy the Judge Dredd mod. I would carry that as my concealed weapon.
That thing's pretty cool. I got to come back to that project actually. So there's been several modifications that need to be put in, but actually any like Glock 17 would actually just drop right into a clamshell and it would function. So I could sell those.
So John, what design software do you use?
Fusion 360 currently, although I am looking to step up into SolidWorks as I've gotten better at this. I don't have any kind of engineering background. I've been self-taught on all of this stuff, just figuring it out as I go. And SolidWorks actually just released a brand new, like this week, like $99 a year subscription base that looks really, really nice. Yeah.
So is that web-based, like from a browser, or?
No, it's you download it onto your computer, but all of the processing power is mostly web-based. And the files are saved on web base. And so it is handy, especially as I can go from like my laptop to my desktop and all the files are still there.
All right. Yeah. Who's hasn't had a good laugh today? Can you guess what software I use to do my design work?
Probably
I have seen your live videos. I am well aware of the Tinkercad addiction, and
free.
I started on Tinkercad at one time.
It's like every freaking episode, Rich.
Gee, John, at least I was awake.
I know I was awake for the show. I was sleeping a minute before the show. Not like asleep
as the guest of honor, I really feel honored that you would come awake and alert and ready to spend this time with me.
Yeah. I got to learn a better CAD software because I'm like, I don't know how to do that with Tinkercad, and I don't think it's possible. Well, and if I do learn how to do it in Tinkercad, it's worthless.
So the real issue with Tinkercad is you can't play with friends. You're all on your own. If you're exporting a file out of Tinkercad, you're going to get an object file. You're going to get an STL. You're going to get a meshed file, which nobody's going to edit that with you, or at least any sane person is not going to mess with that.
Right.
So that's why you need to step up to at least a Fusion 360. You can get their hobbyist license for free. There is no fee to set up for that hobbyist license for Fusion 360. That's a great place to start. And that way you can get into the step files to be able to work with other people.
Right. Yeah. And Richard Monder is trying to bait 3-letter agencies to kick in my door. This is like the third message in this chat.
Richard Monder, he should get into 3D printing firearms where he is. I think that would go pretty well for him.
Oof. Yeah. Richard Monder's from England, in case you don't know.
Well, so he needs a lootie, is what I hear.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like his countryman that figured that one out.
Yep.
So this has been this project. This is the Cobra 9. So this has kind of taken over my life for about the last year or so. Of really the only manufactured part on that's the Glock barrel. Everything else is homemade, and that's a 9mm pistol carbine.
Did you 3D print the orange hockey puck?
That's just the Brownells punch.
Oh, it does say Brownells there. Okay.
Yeah, that was just on my workbench.
Yeah.
And a 1903 Colt pocket hammerless.
Rich advertises Brownells for free.
Who?
I had no idea.
I don't know why he advertises Brownells. He's like, I'm a member of the Brownells Bureau of Propaganda. It's
hiding all of that top secret information on my whiteboard of knowledge. And I just, in case Matt Hoover's watching, bigger the whiteboard, the more knowledge. That's all I got to say.
All right. Well, you can have the Team Uncool banner after the show this weekend.
Team Uncool. Wow.
Hold on. I want to get something out of the closet here.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that like Dark, Rich, Shooting Gallery New England, and we all came up with Team Uncool.
So I think I stole a version of that brace. Let's see. And I decided I didn't want to print the whole brace because it would have taken longer. So I just threw in some EMT between here and here.
Yeah, at least you're not calling it a stock.
Yes.
Again.
Well, it's on a Glock, so it kind of...
It's a brace.
I've got a Glock with a stock.
Mm-hmm.
I have one of these from...
that is so cool.
Yeah, JFD gave this to me.
Ooh.
Yeah, one of those little flex brace kind of deals.
Yeah, it's like the P80 drops right into here, and then fold up. Yeah, I really like this.
See, I do have a picture. I'll be darned.
I haven't gotten my onesie yet from BOP, so still waiting. Although I haven't checked the mail today.
So once upon a time, there was a time before braces, and a time when you had to do a Form 1 to be able to create a Glock carbine. So that's my SBR'd Glock carbine. That's
really cool as hell.
And of course, since it's an SBR, we can actually have vertical foregrips, and that's a 2-stamper, where you've got the suppressor, the SBR Glock inside of the clamshell.
That's cool. Really cool.
Yeah, it's that's a nice little machine. That sat in my truck for years before I built up other stuff to have fun with.
Yeah. Yeah, the Roni is still iffy legally, as I understand. Yeah, it still is.
But if you do your Form 1, you got your stamp. If you're that guy, which I am, I'm okay with that. I don't like it. I hate it. Don't like it. But I'll play by the rules if I have to. This is probably my other claim to fame. Is I'm still in development of the choo-choo brake.
I was looking. I'm like, what the?
So I have a dream. I have a dream to create a muzzle device that makes a choo-choo sound, like the choo-choo whistle that we all had as children. I want that out of my muzzle brake.
All right, Bub Rub. You guys remember Bub Rub?
No.
Nope. That's all. That must be local for you.
No, it's not. Actually, I think it's Florida. All right.
I'm a new Florida resident, so.
All right, let me show you because I'm just going to put this newscast on. This is not really 3D printing, but when you said it was choo-choo brake, it made me think.
Oh, the whistle tips?
Yeah, Bubble Rub, man.
I didn't know his name. I know whistle tips.
I can't believe you don't know Bub Rub's name.
For kids is driving parents and entire neighborhoods crazy. It's called a whistle tip, and it's welded inside a car's muffler to make the car screechingly loud for nearly a mile. Well, tomorrow night, Oakland residents will be complaining officially to City Hall officials. Crown 4's Mark Jones has the story live in Oakland.
Had to be one of the two.
Well, Pam, city residents have been told this noise is perfectly legal, so tomorrow they hope to start the process to change the law. Nearly every muffler shop in Oakland is installing Whistler tips. It's a piece of metal welded inside.
Just waiting for the Bub Rub.
That makes the car audible for almost a mile.
That's annoying as hell.
Tell me about the whistles.
The whistles go woo.
Anybody that has it in their neighborhood.
That's the Bub Rub.
Crazy.
It sounds like what?
When you want to woo woo, it's that woo woo. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, look, he's called. No, look. They even put his name down as Bub Rub. Hold on.
Then you got the flows. They didn't trip out the flow masters.
That decoration, man. Just
Hold
for
on.
decoration.
Let me just get the. Look, they even put his name as Bub Rub. Bub Rub.
He's a whistle fan.
Then you got the flows. They didn't trip out the flow masters.
That decoration, man. Just for decoration. That's it. And that's all, man. We do it
So when
for
I take the
decoration.
choo-choo break public, I'll have to get in touch with Bub Rub for my release video and some sponsorships.
Yeah, that's Bub Rub, man. I can't believe you guys didn't get the Bub Rub.
I don't know if you saw the last frame, but they're welding next to the gas tank. More power to you.
So you actually want to weld on a full tank?
Yeah, well, you gotta
actually, a full tank is better than an empty tank.
Correct.
Yeah, because it's the actual
vapors that ignite.
Vapors go boom. Full tank of gas is totally fine. So yeah, you actually, when you do welding on a gas tank, it's better to have it full.
Damn, John, you are like a jack of all trades, and I don't want to say the second part.
Actually, the second part. Let me be that guy for a second.
You're going to be that guy because I know that isn't the correct phrase.
Yeah, so Shakespeare actually came up with that, and it says, better to be a jack of all trades than a master of one. So it's not a master of none; it's a master of one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So certainly, yeah. No, I mean I'm into that. I've got the machine lathes, I've got the mills, I've got the surface grinders. I can weld. I love it. It's a great change of pace when I'm not riding a desk job all day to go home and make stuff.
I'm not a master of. I mean, I'm not a jack of all trades, but I am a master of none.
So, and John and I we're kind of do a lot of similar things tech wise, and a lot of times I can't even tell people. Not that I can't speak the words. It's not that it's top secret, but I can't explain it in a way people would understand what I do. So the ability to come home and manufacture something in, whatever in the physical world is very cathartic for me, that I can actually, whether it's building a shed or changing the oil on a car or something like that, because you can point at that and tell people, yes, I built that, I did that, and they understand it.
I made a touchless fingerprint reader.
Touchless.
Yeah, so you can basically, let's say you have it like you have it like here, right? And someone is close enough to you and they wave, you can read their fingerprints.
The camera has a high enough resolution to pick up the fingerprints. Interesting. My first job out of college, I was actually a network admin. So I worked for like a small school. I was a single man IT department for 150 end users. 150 end users, ran 3 Exchange servers and fiber optic jump and patchwork. I did it all. It was a nightmare.
Wow.
And what I would always tell people, it's not that I'm necessarily smarter than you. It's just that I'm really good at Google.
I always hate that when people ask you things, or I guess Control Pew has it. It's what is his? He's got like a part of his website dedicated to all of the answers you would ask me. You know,
the guide, the Control Pew
the guide. That's it, the guide. So it's like I'm always like, if I reach out to him for something, I'm like, I'm not gonna ask him without looking already.
Are We Cool Yet has a video game.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, so if you go to the arewecoolyet.org, the answer to the guide is actually like an 8-bit video game that goes through the exploring 3D printing, materials, 3D printers, all kinds of stuff. It's actually kind of fun.
Well, that's really cool.
So Are We Cool Yet is there's a big rift in the 3D printed community. There's several different groups, from Igloo, from Black Lotus to Are We Cool Yet, to Deterrence Dispense and Control Pew, and many of them don't like each other. Some of it is they claim that designs were stolen, bad representation, all those things. And I mean, ultimately, John, why does anybody not like another person? Personality conflicts. 9 times out of 10, oil and vinegar, they're just not going to get along.
Because I'm like skating along the surface on this stuff, and so I know Vin, and Vin is in Are We Cool Yet? I know Control Pew a little bit. And
Vin's with Deterrence Dispense.
Oh, Deterrence. Oh, all right. So I'm like,
see, you've already broken it.
Already,
you're kicked out.
That's it.
You're exiled.
I'm out. Oh well, that's how it is then.
Yeah, I know there are some. I don't really talk. It's like dirt, right?
It's just drama.
It's drama, so I'm not gonna say, hey, this group doesn't like this group, or this guy doesn't like this guy, but there seems to be a lot of it in the 3D printing community.
No, not really. I think that there's a vocal minority, like in anything. I mean,
you hear a lot about it.
Good point.
How about that?
Yeah.
Yes,
absolutely.
vocal minority is the.
Yeah, listen, Jerry Springer was a popular television show for a very long time because it was exciting and people love drama. And it's not that the groups themselves, I don't think any of the groups really ideologically hate each other. It's just there's a couple individuals in there that really don't like each other, and they make it known. And, you are an individual that gets represented by the group you're in. And hey, now we've got identity politics that are, a bad start to begin with.
Funny story about Jerry Springer. My nephew is autistic, and the Jerry Springer show called my brother-in-law and to invite him to be on the show. My brother-in-law was like, no, why would I be on the show?
Your brother's a smart man.
My brother-in-law was like, no, why would I want to be on the show? And my nephew, who's autistic, is laughing. And he goes, Jesse, why are you laughing? He goes, I called the Jerry Springer show and said that my dad's having sexual relations with the dog.
Oh,
my brother-in-law was so pissed.
Oh my!
Good for him. That's good times.
He was so pissed off. He just thought it was the funniest thing in the world.
So after my first plane crash, I got a call from the Montel. No. From a producer from Montel Williams. They asked if I want to be on the show. I'm like, no. No.
That was your chance. I mean, they say all publicity is good publicity. You could have tested that out.
Yeah, no. I don't want to be that crash test dummy. Pass.
Nice. So this is my other recent build. I worked a lot with 2A 3D print on this one. This is a 17 long. So that is a full 6-inch barrel Glock. It is a beast of a gun. This is a Zafiri or Zafari, however you want to pronounce it today. Slide that's been Cerakoted white, along with a Hollow Sun 507 that's been Cerakoted white as well. So this is our Snow White edition of the Chairman 117 long. And this is the gun that I will be running at the Makers Match come March in St. Augustine, Florida.
That looks really cool.
It's quite the shooter. At first, I thought that this like extra mass up here was actually kind of ugly, not having that rail.
No, I like it.
Well, I quickly realized that this extra weight up front actually really holds down the muzzle rise.
Yeah, it looks like it's made out of peanut butter fudge. I don't like peanut butter fudge, but
I like that texturing. That is wild.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Like, I don't know. Like, next to my beach house, there's a candy kitchen. And Candy Kitchen in like Delaware, Maryland is like this place that sells all this type of fudge.
And John went to the beach house to talk to the architect about the dimensions of the moon pool for his submarine.
Everybody's got to have a hobby.
And for some reason, looking at that, it reminds me of like when I was in there like yesterday, like the lines on the fudge.
Your marbled fudge.
Yeah, it looks similar to that. So
I get where you're coming from that.
I don't know why it made me think of that. Maybe I'm still sleeping. I don't know.
I won't say what it makes me think of in, wrinkly skin. But yeah, I could see where you're coming from that.
Old people?
Sure, we'll go with that one. Yeah, so I mean, that's the kind of stuff I'm up to. I'm just 3D printing all kinds of stuff and having a blast. I'm not really selling anything. I'm just having a good time, and we create all this stuff and give it out.
That's really cool. That brings me to my final question. Why do you do this? Why do you give out your designs everywhere? Why?
So lots of reasons. First off, I mean, I think we need to normalize the hobby of personal manufactured firearms. When I saw the Popular Front documentary on Jay Stark, I loved the documentary. I thought it was really cool. But if this is our champion telling the world that this is a safe hobby, that we, Jay Stark's awesome, what he accomplished and what he did, but he's not the spokesman that I want for my senators and my congressmen. He is not the spokesman that I want for my local community about what it means to be a ghost gun builder, what it means to be a 3D printed firearm designer. So I kind of came out into the world of YouTube only a year ago and started to put myself out there to say, I got young kids. I'm happily married for 15 years. And, this is a totally normal, legitimate hobby.
Yeah, but Jay Stark, where he was located at, he had no other option but to go masked.
Absolutely. But even there, I mean, once again, not to speak ill of Jay Stark, but leave. If you're living under tyranny constantly, get away.
Voting with your feet type thing.
You got to pick. Yeah, you got to pick your hills to die on, and your line in the sand, whatever you want to say. He felt like he wanted to step up to that and change stuff, and I think that's very valid too. But this is where we are now.
Yeah, like one of my Italian cousins, really, he's more American than a lot of Americans, and he would move here in a second if he could. But immigration is just so hard to get to this country.
Oh yeah. John was telling me this story. So this guy has a master's degree?
No, that's another guy. Yeah, he has a master's. Oh, you were talking about my other cousins. Okay, my wife is Italian, right? and like I'll tell the. One of my Italian cousins really like guns and like 3D printed guns, but they really can't do it over there because it's really no. But that's what I was gonna say. But Rich is talking about my other Italian cousin, because my wife is Italian, so a lot of Italian cousins, who has a doctorate, but a PhD, but the job market sucks so bad over there that she's cleaning houses. The PhD.
And can't get into the U.S.
You can't get. She wants to immigrate to the U.S. but can't get into the U.S. And she has a PhD.
Yep,
That's unbelievable.
But yet, you could, fly to Mexico, come on right in through, no problem.
That's I'm telling Richard Monder, get a sombrero, come on in.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's options. I mean, yeah, no, it is a process. So my wife's parents are first generation immigrants coming in. They had quite the story in the 1980s, actually being chased out of the country by Ceausescu in Romania. So, running the border kind of stuff, and 6 months, not sure if who's alive, who's dead. So certainly, but there's, if you don't like your situation, do everything you can to change it. And if nothing else, yes, fight.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I have to get to a Cub Scout pack meeting tonight with my son. I got to give out awards. I have the number of scouts who gets each reward, but I don't remember who gets what. So,
well, hopefully that power nap got you ready.
No, I kind of want to go back to sleep. Okay. Here's the thing, right? I hardly ever sleep. So when I sleep, I just want to sleep, and I want to sleep, but I can't sleep. So now I gotta wait until I get home, but then I'll try to get my youngest to sleep, and I'll go to sleep, I think.
It's not good. The candle that burns twice as bright burns twice as fast. Set up yourself a routine, man. You're gonna burn yourself out.
No, dude, I've been this way since I was probably like 7, 8 years old.
Be the change you need to be. So
no, probably earlier than that. I've been like this way forever. When I was
we're gonna bust out the Tony Robbins on you. We're gonna fix this. No,
I guess when I was like in like elementary school and stuff, I would still stay up very, very late till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Which is kind of late for like a 5, 6 year old. But I don't know. It's just the way I've always been. Just put the Gremlins on the TV. Let it play. No. I mean, dude, I sometimes I do my best thinking in the middle of the night.
And then John calls me about 1 a.m.
Yeah, and what do we talk about?
String theory.
Nice.
Yep, because my wife won't talk to me about it. Because every time I wake her up, she tells me to leave her alone. One time.
They got him.
Max Headroom is gone. He did. That's some Max Headroom effect, man. All right. Hopefully he'll be back. If not,
he was having an issue pre-show similar to that. But
all right.
Congratulations on Walter, 2 Eagle Scout family. That's a big deal.
That is really cool. Congratulations, Walter. I want to get some custom 3D etched lowers made. Hit me up.
Yep.
I'll hit you up or whatever.
If I had money, I'd be at Walter's right now spending it.
And if Walter's going to SHOT, I want to go hang out with that dude.
I believe he is. Not that I know in any recent weeks, but
we're hanging out, Walter. You and I.
Mr. Snow says they're after me.
They are after you. Just I don't know. I'll just come over and chase them away for you.
Yeah.
All right, Rich.
Alrighty, so tomorrow we have Bulletproof Blondie on the show.
Yeah, she's like an Instagram model. I didn't know it was until you sent me a picture. I was like, oh.
I figured I'd tell it to you today.
Model.
Yeah, well, she's actually was working as a photographer. She did wedding photography.
Oh, nice.
So I saw her over on Smash Time Show. I had his real name in my head now. So Smash Time Show, and I thought she was just a pretty face, but no, she knows her stuff. So I was super impressed. I'm like, let's get her on.
Oh, by the way, someone offered to pay me to end my show.
How much are they? What's my cut? That's all I want to know.
No, they wanted me to do stuff on another channel. Which I thought was kind of crazy, but whatever. Good money too.
What'd you say? You got to bring your sidekick Rich with you? Or?
No, I said no. I'm not interested. I want to do my own stuff. Well, that's something that's mine.
Well, okay then. So let's close out the show. I got to make dinner. And so if you find me on the web, you would find me at flyingrich.com or youtube.com/flyingrich or on the grams, flyingrich_official.
And since Mr. Snow's webcam went down, pretend like you're Mr. Snow.
I'm not that cool.
And tell people where to find you at.
Let's see. So Mr. Snow Makes on Instagram, and actually Mr. Snow's website, YouTube channel. Is it Mr. Snow? I'm searching right now. I want to make sure I get it right. Mr. Snow Makes on YouTube also. So Mr. Snow Makes on the grams, Mr. Snow Makes on YouTube, and I'm guessing he's Mr. Snow Makes on Twitter also.
Yep. That is it. You can find me here. You can find me at John Crump News, and you can find me over at Amaland and read my stuff. With that said, what am I gonna say?
It starts with a W. And here I am alone. Good night, folks. See you tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Time.